We will be recording, so students who aren't able to view the presentation live will be able to follow up with it later. But we're excited for all the schools that we have here today. And so I'm just going to allow a few more minutes for people to join, and we'll get started soon. All right. Can everyone hear me all right? We'll go ahead and get started with our presentation. And this is our graduate and professional fair. And our goal today is really to show you and help you prepare for applying for graduate school, and just to kind of get you thinking about the things that you need to be thinking as you go through the process, and what you'll be asking, what kind of information you should be collecting, and what sort of direction that you want to head. So our agenda today, we have our introduction. Of course, I'm Brennan Smith from Career Services here at Regent, and we offer many different services through our office. In addition to just helping you prepare for graduate school, we also can help you prepare a resume. We can help you begin your job search. We have drop-in hours throughout the week, but you can also call or email or visit and schedule an appointment with us, or use the scheduler tool in your Regent portal. And you can meet with a career coach, and they can go beyond what it is that we're reviewing today. We'll talk about what you should consider when applying. We've got Regent University's graduate schools today, excluding the School of Law. We have Concordia University at Irvine, and we have question and answers toward the end, and we'll talk a little bit about some upcoming career services events. So if you're thinking about graduate school, some of the things to think about would be, what is your current major and what sort of graduate program would you like to pursue? If you have an idea of what sort of program it is, you can sort of narrow down your school selection or your choices, because that will then kind of open up, this school is known for this sort of program, whereas other schools won't be. So it's almost like doing a job search, only you're thinking, what kind of place do I want to get in education? When making this decision, if you haven't done so already, you want to start to think about what your gifts are, what your personality is like, what your workplace values are, and what your strengths are. The more you know yourself, the better you'll be able to make a decision on what kind of graduate school or program would be best for you to pursue. And of course, we offer assessments for pretty much every single one of those questions. The Myers-Briggs is free. You can find it online, but we do offer a motivational gifts test. We offer a workplace values test, so you can figure out what kind of career you might do well in. And also we offer a strengths. It's done by Gallup, and that will answer a lot of questions about yourself and kind of maybe get you thinking about what you need to be thinking in terms of grad school. Because the more you know, the better questions you can ask. Another important thing to consider is, what does your resume showcase? Resumes aren't just for getting jobs, they're for education as well. And so beyond just your transcripts and doing well in school, you want to be able to show who you are and show your experience and do it well, especially throughout the application process. You also kind of want to think preemptively and ask, what sort of experience do I want to put on this resume in graduate school? And so by asking questions when you're looking at other institutions of higher learning, you can kind of determine, will this be a good place to get experience? Because that's ultimately, if your ultimate goal is to get a job after graduate school, you want to make sure you're going somewhere that will give you experience to put on a resume. And also you want to think about with who you are networked. Networking is so key whenever it comes to making relationships, not just for finding employment, but also for higher education. So you can learn a lot about what a program is like and what a school is like if you're networking with current students, with professors, with faculty, with staff. And of course, if you go visit and take advantage of any of the open houses or those sorts of opportunities, you want to remember people's names, get their information, and connect with them on LinkedIn, social media, wherever it is that you're going. So you can maintain those connections and have points of contact to direct further questions. You also want to think about, what is the goal of continuing your education? That's what should really motivate you to pursue a graduate degree. Because if you think the application process is difficult or confusing, just wait until you get the actual coursework. And when it comes time, if you're asked to write a mission statement, which we do offer a presentation here about how to write a mission statement, if that's something that you're interested in learning more about, understanding your goals are going to be really key in writing the necessary papers or essays or mission statements that many graduate schools would require you to write when you apply. So you want to have a very clear picture, and for interview purposes as well, because you never know when someone's going to say, what brings you here today? You want to be very clear and you want to be driven about it. Graduate school is very directed, it's very focused, and you need to be the same if you're going to do well in a graduate program. You also want to consider, of course, what are your funding options? Graduate school isn't free. And so if you've been working hard in your undergrad and you've earned potential opportunities, or maybe you don't even realize some of the scholarships you might qualify for, always find out. Also, working at institutions of higher learning can oftentimes bring benefits that provide sources of funding. And importantly, a very important question to ask is, how can you stay organized while applying? the application process, depending on how many schools you're looking at, you're going to start to get confused because each process, each school is a little bit unique, a little bit different. And the better you have your information organized, the better you can reflect, the better you can make a decision if you're trying to decide where it is that you want to go. Back when I did this process while looking for my first job, and I used paper. I've tried to go paperless in my life just because you can lose paper, and if you lose files, you have a really good excuse nowadays if you lose a file because it should be all backed up on a cloud. But back when I did it, I printed everything out on paper, and I had it organized in binders. I had it color coded by what my preferences were, and I would try to have a template set up so I could write down or answer the same exact questions for each place I applied. Now there are many great online tools that can help you do this sort of thing without you having to spend money on binders or printing or, buying a bunch of different colored markers. I know a lot of people still like hands-on, that sort of interaction with paper. But one of the tools that I've found this year that works really well for me organizing at work would be Trello. And I could see how that could be a good tool to use if you're trying to stay organized with the application process for your school. I do have a quick example of that. Let me see if I can switch to it quickly. We have Regent University here. So with the tool Trello, if you just go to their website, it's free. It kind of gives you a board and different stacks you can make. And for example, here you create cards in the stacks, and you can then put the school title. You can take notes about the school here, and you can color code them just like I did when I had paper. So I put a green here for Regent just because I like it. I will most likely apply. You can choose how many labels you want to have. You can switch through that. You can make a checklist. So say you need references, application. When you get all those things, you can check them off. You can add comments of who you contacted with and communicated with. You can copy and paste emails in here. Just a lot of cool ways to keep track of things. You can also add attachments to each card. And the best part is when, say, I've done all those things, I can drag to in progress. If I'm working on it, I can drag to implied. It's just a good way to think about, organization if you're going to be going through this process. And so our schools today, like I said, Regent University and Concordia University at Irvine. We will go ahead and start with Regent University. And let's see, Xavier, is that how you say your name? I asked you before.
Close, Xavier.
That's such a cool name.
Thanks, Brendan. Thank you.
So if you'd like to go ahead and share your presentation.
Okay. All right. Let me get this pulled up. Let's see if I can do this correctly.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Nice.
Perfect. Now let's see if this will. Okay, there we go. Let's turn on the. Okay, there we go. There we go. Hi, everyone. Thanks again so much for coming to join us. My name is Xavier, and I work with the admissions office here at Regent. So I wanted to just kind of talk through a little bit of our programs and make sure that you had all of the information, not just for applying to Regent graduate schools, but grad school in general. So the first slide is really just some of our programs. This just kind of gives you an idea of how wide a variety of programs you can have. A lot of times with Regent, when it comes to Regent, people think we just have our divinity programs and the practicum theology and Master of Divinity, but we have so many more programs than that. Our graduate programs are broken into different schools. So we have our School of Business and Leadership, School of Communication and the Arts, School of Education, Psychology and Counseling, our Robinson School of Government, as well as the School of Divinity. So as mentioned earlier, the first thing you want to do is look at what are you majoring in your undergraduate program? And also ask yourself the question, what would I do if I wasn't getting paid? What is it? That's going to tell you what you're really passionate about. And once you figure that out, then you can find the degree program that seems to best align with that program or with your passion, with your dreams. The reason that's so important is because grad school gets very intense. I'm a graduate student myself here with the School of Psychology and Counseling. There's a lot of late nights and a lot of homework, but it's that passion, it's that reminder of why I'm doing this that keeps you working on that 10-page paper. It's that passion that keeps you, that reminds you why I'm staying up reading 12 chapters when I really want to go to sleep. So it's important to really be passionate about what you're coming to graduate school for. And it's an investment. You want to make sure that you're making a very smart investment with the degree that you're pursuing. So let's say that you find the program that you're interested in and you're ready to move forward. So the question is, what do I need to do next with Regent? How do I move forward? So across the board, this is what Regent looks for in the admissions office. Now, of course, each graduate school has a little bit of a different requirement. But across the board, we're looking for a 3.0. We are about excellence here, so we really want to see that you were able to master your undergraduate GPA, that you were able to get the writing, the concepts, that you have a solid foundation coming into graduate school. So the standard process is an application to the school that you're looking to join, your unofficial transcripts, and a writing sample. So the writing sample is usually some form of personal goal statement, some explanation as to why you're pursuing this program. And again, there are schools like psychology and counseling that require the GRE. The School of Education may require a letter of recommendation. So you want to make sure that you are familiar with the school you're interested in for those additional pieces. The biggest thing we're looking for here at Regent is your why. We want to know why Regent, why this degree? And so in those personal goal statements, in your writing samples, is really a chance to pour your heart out. You have to remember that we don't know you. We have no idea what you're gifted at. We have no idea what your skills are. We have no idea what you're passionate about. So it's your job to tell us what you're interested in, what you feel called to do, what your dreams are, what the vision is. That's what you have to tell us. And I've seen so many students who fall under that 3.0. Maybe they have a 2.75, maybe they have a 2.8, but you feel their passion on the paper. You can read their passion, you hear their heart, and they were able to start their graduate program. So it's very important to understand that we don't know you, but we want to know you. So help us by telling us your story so we can get you started for the next chapter. So I don't know, Brennan, if you wanted to do the questions now or?
Sure.
Okay.
So if I'm interested in applying,
Yes.
what's the best first step for me to take?
The best first step is to make sure that you've done your research. Make sure that you've done your research. And the first step is really call the admissions office. We have a staff full of people to really kind of help iron out those ideas. So it's really a good step to bounce your ideas off of someone that's here that works in admissions to make sure that you're on the right track before you start sending in your grad application fees and things like that, because we can waive that for you. So make sure to reach out to the school that you're interested in. Give us a call and we'll talk through the process with you.
So calling is a good way to start?
Calling is a good way to start because we are experts in our school. So it's always a chance to just kind of iron out your ideas. So I want to do this and maybe not that, but I think I want to do this. And so it's a chance to kind of give you a sounding board to make sure that you're on the right track.
Now, I've actually been through the application process for School of Business and Leadership, and because I'm a telephone person, I went ahead and called because I know that you all brag in the call center about your quick response time, so I wanted to give it a try. So,
did we let you down? We didn't let you down?
No, it was quick. It was very quick.
Perfect.
In fact, I think I sat in my car without air conditioning on and didn't die from overheating. So it was a very quick process.
And for people who, I'm sorry to cut you off, Brandon, for people who aren't a phone person, we are very responsive to emails. And let's say you don't want to give us a call just yet, I would say make sure you're seeking out godly wisdom, godly counsel. Find somebody that you trust and talk to them first. Really make sure that you're confident what you're supposed to be doing, because it's a large journey ahead for graduate school.
Now, when it comes to tests to get in, does it depend on each school?
Yes. So for the School of Divinity, there aren't any tests, but for the School of Psychology and Counseling, their MA in counseling requires the GRE. So it really depends on which program you're looking at to know which test you may need to take.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And do I get assigned a counselor? Will they help me schedule those tests? How much hands-on help can I get?
So you want to make sure that you schedule your tests beforehand. Now, we are able to talk through with you. We are able to say, hey, here are the dates for the GRE. They're this date, and this date. But you will have to schedule it on your own. But we can absolutely talk you through how to find it, how to find a testing site, and what you need to do to get registered.
Okay. Now, I remember having to do an essay and some things like that for my application. What's the best way to position myself to do well or to show well whenever you receive that information?
Take your time. So the presentation of the essay and our admissions, our writing samples, it looks very quick because they're only like 3 questions long, but they are very weighty questions. They ask for a lot of detail. So feel free to write it, take a day to review it, and then go back and edit it. This is one of the most important things you will write in your lifetime. So you want to make sure that you take your time, that is clear. Read it exactly the way it's written. A lot of times we read what we meant and we don't read what's on paper. And then there's a disconnect between the admissions committee and what you were trying to say. So take your time, write everything down, leave it for a day or two, come back to it, read exactly what's there, and make any revisions before you submit it. So probably a good 3 days maybe before you submit your admissions sample.
Okay. And when it comes time for me to think about, how am I going to pay for this? How do I do that?
So, you always want to look into that free application for federal student aid. Now, at the graduate level, you're more than likely only going to be offered student loans. So you do want to be careful with that. However, each graduate school also has merit scholarships and what we call endowed scholarships that are available. They're incredibly competitive, but that is a resource for you. I'm a student here. I'm a graduate student here, and I believe Brennan mentioned it earlier. You can always look into working at a university. Check out some of their benefits and what they offer. There are several schools who offer tuition remission. So if you're interested in a certain school, check out their employment. See if you're willing to work there, because that will help offset it a lot. For Regent, we have a church matching grant, of course, where you can have your church partner with you to kind of help offset some of that cost. But it really comes down to a lot of loans. It really comes down to loans and making sure that you're only borrowing what you need. And then sometimes you're able to pay out of pocket. I don't recommend it. If you can, great, but a lot of students cannot afford to pay out of pocket because they're coming straight out of undergrad. So those are just some of the options that you have when it comes to funding.
Okay. And I've heard that there's a corporate partners program as well.
Yes, thank you. So Chick-fil-A, Walmart, Centera, Steel, those are just some of the organizations that we actually have our corporate partners with. What corporate partners means is that you get a 25% discount in your tuition. Now that does not change regardless of the school that you decide to apply to. It's a Regent University policy. It's a Regent University financial aid option. So it could be a School of Business and Leadership or Psychology and Counseling. You're still able to get that 25% as well as any military discounts. So if you are a veteran, we will give you 25% on your discount on your tuition as well, as long as you're able to produce your DD-214.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And will there be at any point an in-person interview or over the phone interview? And do I need reference letters, that sort of thing?
So that goes back to the schools. Again, for the School of Divinity, we require a clergy letter of recommendation with your application. The School of Psychology and Counseling does interviews with the faculty. So each school kind of has their own additional requirements. So again, make sure that you're looking into your specific school for any of those additional interviews or clergy letters.
And what does the timeline look for this? When do I want to start doing this if I want to start, say, next fall?
So if you want to start in August 2018, you really want to start moving at the latest about March of 2018. And the reason you want to start that soon is because it'll give yourself a chance to get that writing sample written, to get your transcripts requested. It gives you a chance to apply for financial aid and plan it out. It really kind of gives you a little bit of time after you've gotten all of that, gotten your decision, got everything in place. It gives you a minute to really kind of accept the weight of what you're doing. It really gives you a chance to really sit in the fact that, wow, I'm starting graduate school. The later you wait to apply, the more anxiety kicks in, the more your nerves get a little rattled, and you kind of have an anxious start. So the earlier you can start applying, it gives you a chance to really gives you a chance to breathe get everything turned in, get your recommendation letters submitted if necessary. That way you have a smooth and calm start to the fall semester.
Well, great. It sounds like you all take care of things pretty well and guide people through the process.
You know, we try to take care of them from application all the way to graduation.
Oh, cool. And is there anything that I missed that people should know?
Know that graduate school is one of the most rewarding things that I have done in my life so far. With undergrad, it's a lot of extra classes that you kind of find yourself asking, why do I have to take humanities? Why am I taking this extra history class? But with graduate school, it's all classes geared around what you're passionate about. So it just takes learning to a whole new level, and it really allows you to kind of grow and really find your interest in things that you didn't know you were interested in. It allows you to really become sharpened, to be more effective, and really go out and impact the world and be a change. So if you haven't considered it, please make sure that you start looking into graduate school.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for going over this process. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and if people have questions, they can, of course, follow up in our question and answer segment, which will be toward the end of the entire presentation. So we will have that for you coming up. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And next up, we have Concordia University at Irvine. So let's see, we have Marcia. And Marcia, how are things going?
Good. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, thank you so much for being a part.
Yeah, great. So should I go ahead and share my screen?
Yes, please do.
Okay, great. Let me see here. It's saying that I can't share while you're sharing. Thank you. Okay, let's see if it will pull up here. I think I lost audio. Can you hear me? Okay, for some reason I can't hear you guys.
I muted myself, but yes,
okay.
I can hear you.
Gotcha. Sorry. Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, thank you so much for having us. I'm really excited to share information on our university's international studies program. I did see that you do have an undergraduate international studies program, so I'm hoping your graduates or your undergrads will consider our program, but we do open up this program to all majors. And just so you know, Concordia University, we do offer other graduate programs. We have a traditional MBA, nursing, education, coaching and athletic administration. Today I'll be sharing more information on our international studies degree, but you can find a full list of our graduate programs online at cui.edu. I'll go ahead and share more information on our international studies degree here. So let's see, and a little bit about our university. So we are a private Christian university affiliated with the Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod. We are located in Irvine. That's a city in Southern California. Our university was established in 1976, and we are accredited by WASC, so the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. And so an introduction to our program, the International Studies degree, our students what we do is we challenge our graduate students to understand and evaluate the causes of issues that are experienced by global communities. So the program will prepare our students with the intercultural competency skills that they need. As you know, when we are doing work globally and building relationships, culture is key. And so, building the intercultural competency skills will help students that are looking for international or looking into pursuing international careers. They also have the ability to develop strategies that is going to solve the challenges that both multicultural and multicultural communities and organizations face. There's 4 focus regions that our program offers. So in Africa, we will send our students to Ghana. In Southeast Asia, we have a partnership in Thailand. In China, it's in Jiangsu. If any of you guys are familiar with Shanghai, the Shanghai province, right above that is Jiangsu province. And then in Central America, we have a partnership in Costa Rica. So we are still building out the partnerships in South America, but we are considering Argentina and Brazil. So the abroad experience, so, students can learn about international studies, but we feel that the abroad experience is key to a degree in this field. So the international fieldwork course, it is 3 weeks abroad in your chosen region, again, Africa, China, Southeast Asia, or Central and South America. During that time, so there are different programs that will have you abroad for a semester or 6 months. Our program is built to really cater to a working student. So 3 weeks is something that is manageable for our students. You have time to request off from your employers. That is if you are working, but that 3 weeks abroad is very valuable. What you're doing during that time is, again, we partner with either universities in those regions or a business or a program that has an established relationship with a business. And so what the students are doing is they're attending lectures or seminars about global issues specific to that region. And these seminars are led by community leaders and field experts. And so the other piece to this online or abroad experience is that students are getting some hands-on participatory experience. So what that means is, with the nonprofit or the business that we've partnered with, they'll go in, they won't just observe. So for example, there's a nonprofit in Mexico, Operation Blessing. They have different locations as well. So it wouldn't just be going in and observing. They're actually going to take part in a project that the nonprofit is working on at that time. So just to give you an example, for our partnership in Costa Rica, they do work with sea turtles and coastal community development. And in Thailand, the university does a lot of research on human security. So just kind of give you an idea of what type of work you would be doing in those regions. So, as you think about graduate school, again, this is open to all majors, all backgrounds, but, so you might be thinking, oh, why a master's degree in international studies? So, we believe that anyone who has an interest in global affairs, international relations, development, nonprofit, non-governmental organization work, State Department, would be good candidates for our program, and our program would be a good fit. If you are thinking about an internationally focused career, which there are many careers that have an international connection, business is one of them, education, but again, what will happen is with our program, when you're building that global knowledge, you're going to stand out as a candidate among future employers because you have that expertise. And again, it is a specific region, but the courses that you take in our program, the theories can be applied worldwide. The program timeline, so we have a fall start of every year. So the next one will be fall 2018, and that starts September 3rd. The way that the program, or how that timeline looks, is that it would be, or you could actually complete the program in 16 to 18 months. So traditional graduate programs you'll see are 2 years. So ours is accelerated. So this is very helpful for those that they feel that they really want to get that master's degree, whether it's going to be for personal development, professional development, open up opportunities on the for the current employer that they're working with. So that is a full-time enrollment status. So if you started with us in fall of 2018, you could finish as early as December of 2019. And you finish when you complete your capstone project. So 16 to 18 months. And then within a traditional semester, so if you're used to, I'm not sure if you guys are on a traditional 15-week semester, but there's 2 7-week terms. So it would be the first 7-week term, and then there's 1 week break, and then you have your second 7-week term. And there's 1 to 2 courses each term. Our courses are all online. So as I mentioned earlier, it is built out to fit a student that is working full-time. So, you ask yourself, I'm working full-time, how can I balance graduate school full-time as well? It really is just going to take some commitment and a lot of time management. But it is possible, and this is the reason for the courses being online, to allow for some flexibility. The exception is going to be when you have the fieldwork experience. But again, as I mentioned, it's only 3 weeks long, still valuable experience, but it's manageable. And the fieldwork experience happens a year into the program. So if you started in fall 2018, the soonest you would go abroad is summer, either summer or fall of 2019. So that's going to give you some time to work with your employer, and to request that time off. And when I say that this is a program that is flexible to a working student, what we have seen is that newly graduates, they want to get out in the field and they want to get that job. They need to bring in a salary. And so we understand that, and this is why if students still are considering a graduate program but have to work, that this you're able to do both. And it's just going to take some time management. There is a part-time option available. Maybe students are working full-time and they have other maybe family, and so it might be tough to do full-time at the graduate level. So again, part-time is an option, but it's just going to add an additional year to complete. But again, a traditional graduate program takes 2 years. You could finish our program at a part-time status in just 2.5 years. So there are a total of 11 courses, total 34 units, and all of the courses, you can see the actual courses, the timeline, how it falls within the semesters, or terms I should say, and the course descriptions on our website, which I'll actually provide that website at the end of the presentation. But they are globally focused, as I mentioned. You're going to be covering culture, societies, religion, development, all content that is covered both on regional and global levels. So for our admissions process, the minimum GPA we are looking for is 2.75. We have had some applicants that fall below that minimum requirement, and we still consider them. What we ask for is a GPA petition letter, and I do talk with students one-on-one when they're going through the admissions process to go more in detail about that petition letter. We do require an official transcript. For those of you who are going to be graduating spring of 2018, what will happen is if you start the process now, which I encourage you to do, you would be sending in a current transcript, and we would make an admission decision on your current GPA, and you would be admitted at a conditional admit, and then we would switch over your admission status once we receive your final transcript that confers your undergraduate degree. We do require a resume, 2 letters of recommendation. The letters of recommendation, they can come from a current advisor, current professor, or if you're currently working, if you want to send it in from an employer, that would be fine. I would say, you know, when you look into your references, choose someone who can attest to your ability to pursue a graduate school and why you would be a good candidate for our program. And then we require a statement of intent. The statement of intent, what I usually encourage students to do is share with us something that makes you stand out that I might not have seen, or the admissions committee doesn't see in your application. And again, that could be why, what career you see yourself pursuing that has that international connection, and how this program would help you reach that goal, or get you closer to reaching or being able to apply for that job, that dream job. The application deadline, it is an early application deadline for fall. It is February 15th. Currently, the university will hold to the February 15th deadline, but if I do have some late applicants, there is a possibility to extend it, but that will be as we reach that point. The online application fee is $50. The application fee, the online application, it's fairly simple to fill out. It probably would take you about 10 minutes. It's really the work that it's going to take to gather the required documents that I just went over that takes a little bit more time. I do waive the $50 application fee for applicants if I have phone appointments set up. And again, that's just for me to help better prepare you for the admission process, and that you're clear on, what the admissions process would look like. So our tuition rate is $525 per unit. It's very affordable. I can tell you that, I've been with the university and this program specifically for 4 years now, and I've always kind of did my research on other international studies programs. Our total tuition is just under $19,000. And I can tell you that other international studies degrees that are the traditional 2-year programs are costing minimum $50,000. So again, our university has priced this to be affordable for students who are working or are just graduated. And we have the understanding that, hey, undergrad students, they just graduated and they have some loans to pay back, and so that's the reason why we have priced it at an affordable rate. There are additional fieldwork costs. It's estimated at $2,500 to $3,500. I don't have the final number, but I will definitely know early on before you start the program in fall 2018. That's including your airfare, housing, and any related charges for the field work. But we do fold this cost into the cost of attendance. So what that means is that when you are awarded financial aid, you can use that aid towards these charges. So we also do have a scholarship. This is why I encourage students to start the application process now. The university has set a limit to 15 scholarships. It's $1,000 scholarships to the first 15 students admitted for this fall 2018 cohort. So that's going to bring the tuition down even more, so just under $18,000. There is financial aid available, as we covered earlier. I can tell you that the maximum that a qualified applicant, I should say, can receive is $20,500. So when you look at our costs, going back to this last slide, with let's say you do qualify for this, or you are admitted among those first 15, you receive the $1,000 scholarship, plus these charges here for the field work. With the student loan, if you qualify for the maximum amount, all of the costs for our program is covered by financial aid. So if you are open to student loans, which is available at the graduate level, then there would be no out-of-pocket expense. But, again, because it's at an affordable rate, some students do have, they'll take out some part of that loan and then try to kind of set up a payment plan so they don't have to take as much loans out. And some students prefer to do that. There are external scholarships available at fastweb.com. I encourage you to search that. It's pretty much you create a profile, and then it's going to search their database for what you might qualify for, whether it's GPA, volunteer work, a specific program that you're pursuing. And then just to give you a snapshot of what our alumni are doing, again, I mentioned if you have an interest in nonprofit, non-governmental organization work, our graduates have landed jobs with the U.S. consulates and foreign services. A lot of them are teaching abroad, in China, and they, with a master's degree, have been able to seek out higher paying positions as well as at more established schools. Some of them have ended up back here in the States, and they are working in higher ed, whether it's with international admissions or advising, working at high schools, or actually even elementary schools that are taught in a foreign language. So, and then you have all obviously business, so global marketing, consulting, entrepreneurship, and there are students where this is the next step before they pursue their doctorate degree. And here's my contact information. So I would be your contact for the admission process. And my contact information is here. You can always email me if you'd like to set up a follow-up call. And again, we would talk about, or I could answer any questions you have. We could go more in detail about the program that I might not have covered today. And then again, just talk about the admission process, what those next steps would be if you decide to move forward. And this is our website, sorry. So cui.edu/MAIS, and that's where you will find the application and all of the general information on our program.
Well, thank you, Marcia. That sounds like a really cool program.
Great, thanks. Yeah, it is. I'm very passionate about this program. The abroad experience, I feel, as part of graduate programs really does, kind of open up opportunities and students' eyes to what they can actually do once they graduate.
And students who are thinking about this, what's the first thing they should do? Is it best if they call and reach out or email?
Yeah, I would say, take a look at the website. Again, it's general information. I have all the details. And so I would say, they could reach out to me directly at my email, and this is my direct line here. And there's also an inquiry form online that goes directly to me. So I would have their information that way, but it's just as easy just to email me. And then I would set up a quick phone appointment. And I also do Google Hangouts or Skype, or we could do a face-to-face that way. And just I like to find out more about the student's background, just to help them decide on whether this program is a good fit. And then again, just kind of talk more in detail about the program, answer the questions that they might have that I didn't cover, and then talk about the admissions process.
What are your students like? What kind of people are they?
Gosh, I mean, they come from all different backgrounds, but I have noticed, in the 4 years that I've worked with this program, that a lot of them, well, some of them do. It is kind of that next step of if they're international relations majors or international development studies. But again, I mean, I've had students coming from the sciences, other humanities, business, but what has stood out, I would say, is that they have an interest in being abroad, whether they've done study abroad at the undergraduate level. And again, it opened their eyes up to the, the, they got the abroad bug, I usually say, and are looking for that next opportunity to be abroad. And a lot of students don't know that there's graduate programs that will provide that abroad experience. So, whether they have an interest in traveling, going abroad again, and being able to study abroad, or they they have an interest in traveling and they want to, be able to visit another country. That has a lot, I think, tying into that ideal candidate or who I've talked to in the past. It's that student as well as those who are interested in foreign languages. So
Cool.
while they travel, they learn, they have an interest in languages. That's where their global interest starts to kind of, I guess, blossom, and then they start to look into our programmers and similar programs.
How can a student best position themselves then for the application process?
Mm-hmm. So first thing we will look at is GPA, just because the GPA does indicate, if a student is prepared for graduate school, and I don't want that to deter anyone if they do have a below the 2.75, because we understand that there are things happen in life, and we just want to know that they, maybe that was a part of their time, but they've worked through it, and here are the things that have prepared them since that time, what happened to pull their GPA low, and how they're prepared currently. But so, and I would say, I like to see students applying early. It shows their commitment. It shows the planning, because um, even though we're online, they want to know, hey, I plan to be working, and I want to make sure that I can balance both work and school. Um, and it shows their interests, how interested they are in pursuing our program. Um, and yeah, so I would just say, if they're serious about the program, to keep in touch with me. I'm always available, and I actually do reach out if I haven't heard from students, just to, again, gauge the interest and to see, because things happen. And again, I understand that this is a year out, but time passes very quickly. And so it when students prepare early, it's a good indication to me that that they'll move forward and have a genuine interest of pursuing international studies
Nice. What
and
kind
grad
of,
school.
oh yeah. It sounds like there's a lot of financial options available, and it's not that expensive anyway. I mean, compared to the other programs you were talking about. So, as far as reference letters are concerned, do students need to prepare anything like that?
Yeah, so there's so when they apply, the supporting documents, one is the reference letters. Um, there's an actual form online. So when they go to our website, cui.edu/MAIS, there's an admissions, or I think it's application tab. I can look at it right now if you just give me a second. Um, or what I will do is I can pull it up here and show you. Let's see. So what they would do is, right here is the applications tab, and it will list the requirements. So here, there is a online form for their recommendations. So they would copy the URL, that's the easiest, copy the URL, send it to their references, and then the reference will fill this out. And once they send it, it goes directly to our graduate admissions office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the other documents, let's see, that we would need is the statement of intent. and the resume. In addition, sorry, to official transcripts.
Okay. Nice. Seems like a pretty straightforward process.
It is. Sorry, I did want to mention, once a student's file is complete, so we've received all these documents, and I actually check very frequently on, once a student has submitted, what documents are in, so and I'll just send out an update. Hey, we received your transcript and we're just waiting on your recommendations to complete your file. But once the file is complete, then I contact the student to set up an interview. So it's usually about, depending on the questions that students might have as well, but I would say set aside an hour for the interview, and the interview would be with our director of our program director, Dr. Schuler. And so she will interview the students, and then after the interview, students will find out a week to 2 weeks on an admission decision.
Oh, okay. Nice. So there's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yes.
And the timetable, like you were saying, is February 15th?
Correct.
Okay. Well, Marcia, thank you so much for taking the time to present.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I will go ahead now and open up the floor to anyone of our participants who might have any questions. I know there's a lot of information, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and save this recording and make it available to view later, and that way if anyone needs the information, they can find it in the video recording, and we'll most likely publish that to Facebook. So, but yes, thank you everybody for participating today. And if you have any questions, of course, Career Services, we're always here to answer them here in the Student Center upstairs at the end of the hallway. Once you go left from the top of the stairs, you can reach us at 4926 or 757-352-4926, or find us at regent.edu/CS, and that will give you all of our contact information. Upcoming events include next week's virtual career fair, where we'll have a lot of part-time sort of employers who are trying to hire and get ready for the holiday season. That's going to be Thursday from 10 to 12. You'll find information about that on our Facebook group page as well, so you can join and interview with potential employers right there on the spot. And our clothing drive continues this week too, so if you're looking for any sort of professional dress, I believe it's open until 6 today, I think 5 until 5 tomorrow, and that's downstairs in the Student Center. It's difficult to miss, so you can always check that out. But those are just some of our biggest things happening soon. And once again, thank you everybody for participating. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll hear from you all again soon.